Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Bronx Sports Jedi Network, to the Bronx Bomber Strike Back podcast. I am your host, BX Sports Jedi Kev. Before we get going, we want to say Happy Memorial Day to all our men and women, servicemen and women that serve our country, all the armed forces, all the first responders. May God continue to bless you guys each and every day, the ones that are currently serving and all those that we lost and their families. So we will ask that you guys will have remembrance. Because of you guys, we have the freedom to come on a podcast, to talk, to have all these different luxuries that we have in our nation. So we wanted to salute and honor you and acknowledge everyone that have served this country. And we want to thank you so much. Damos la gracia porque podemos hablar en nuestros lenguaje and our tongues, and of course because of your freedoms and your sacrifices. So I just wanted to acknowledge that before we get the program going. Salute to Aiden. What's going on, Mr. Aiden in the building? I'll put that there. In the words of Cody Rhodes, what do you want to talk about? Well, I want to talk about the team that plays in the Bronx, and we call the New York Yankees. This 2023 season, I know when I don't do much of the podcasting. I do everybody that knows me, I do nothing but the watch alongs when it comes to New York Yankees. Rarely do I break down all of the podcasting, because I know there's a lot of other content creators that do all the nuts and bolts, and just to give them, not to share the YouTube verse, but I had to give the temperature of the team here in Memorial Day. I always tell you guys, the first quarter of the season, it's a little bit of a touch and feel. Remember, the weather isn't so great in the east, in the northern part of the country. Still a little cold. You're gonna have injuries, and boy, did the Yankees get hit with some injuries. They've got hit with some major injuries. From oh my goodness, Carlos Rendon hasn't even thrown a pitch yet for the New York Yankees. He hasn't even is he available? He's starting to come back. He only got one cortisone shot in his back. We're missing him. Severino didn't start the season with the Yankees. Giancarlo Stanton goes down. Donaldson goes down. The injury bug. Trevino, even Judge sliding into third, has some time off with a hip. So the injury bug early hurt them. Mr. Eric Wallace, salute to you, and thank you so much. Marines in the building. Your mic is cutting off. Oh, I wonder why. All right, let's see. Let me make sure that we're hearing. Let's make sure that you guys are hearing me well there first. So a little audio. No, it sure looks good here. It's telling me it's good there. So from my part there. So we're talking about the 2023 Yankees. Now, they started off well. They started off pretty strong. Until the injury bugs, they're winning some series, but the Tampa Bay Rays, don't get discouraged by the Rays getting into a tough start. I also believe that the schedule had a lot to do with the New York Yankees, also a lot of off days. But one of my concerns is the injury bug with this team. We're starting to see a couple tendencies. Ah, there's Michael. Hey, Mike. Mike, would you like to join me on this podcast? I mean, let me know. I'm more than happy to send you if you're free. Wouldn't mind there. Let me know if you're able to come on and join me. I won't mind having it up. In fact, I'll just put it there. We'll have an open discussion because it's a discussion about the Yankees and as well. Oh, cool. There we go. We'll put Michael Caputo on, and of course it's good. There we go. So Michael will join me. Michael Caputo will join me here. Hopefully my audio hasn't cut in and cut out. So we're talking about the New York Yankees here. The first part. One thing that I'm looking at, I'm still seeing a little tendencies of the season's past. Now, the strikeouts are still high for the New York Yankees. The situational hitting is a little bit of a concern to myself. I'm glad that they brought Anthony Volpe up and they allow Anthony Volpe to play the shortstop position. I know his numbers aren't so hot. He's in the Mendoza line, but he does have 13 stolen bases. He has 7 of home runs in the limited at-bats that he has so far. He's good. You could tell there's talent in Anthony Volpe, but sometimes the defense tends to come up a little short when he needs to make. He could make the spectacular play, but there's, for instance, there was a game last week against the Orioles. There was a hot shot ball hit the short. He played it on the side instead of getting on the front of it and allow them to get through there. Chris is joining me. Hi, Chris.
What's up, Kev?
I thought you were working, but it's great to have you on. Appreciate you joining us. Good afternoon to you, Chris.
What's up? What's up, chat?
We got Caputo is going to join me. Hi, Michael.
Hey, what's up?
So we're talking about the first 25 or the first half of 50-plus games Memorial Day of this Yankee. And I was talking about the injury bug right now hurting the Yankees. Then I talked about the defense. Now, the injury bug. What are your thoughts on the injury bug here? Is this going to be something we're going to see all season, or is this just something just currently right now? I'll start with you, Chris.
Hopefully it's just right now. Usually it happens toward like the middle and the end of the year. So I mean, it's good to get it out the way right now. But hopefully this is it. Like, we don't need Stanton coming back, getting hurt again. Sevy the same way, coming back, getting hurt again. Rodon, I mean, we still haven't seen him pitch. They said Montage might come back at the end. I don't know. And then our bullpen, I mean, we're missing like 3 or 4 arms. So, hopefully all this, and if we trade for somebody, Cashman, I'm going to say this one time. If we trade for somebody, make sure they're not hurt.
All right. Injury bugs to you, Caputo. Same question. This injury bug we see currently right now, is this something that's going to continue going, or do you have confidence that we might stay relatively fairly healthy?
Unfortunately not, because this has been going on for years and years and years now. I mean, we get this injury bug every single year. It's not even an injury bug at this point. It's a constant, it's a chronic thing that's been going on for years. Like even when Joe Girardi was managing the team, we've been having these injuries. So, this isn't going away. Hopefully, I mean, they could stay healthy, but they just hired a new conditioning and training staff not too long ago, I think about 2 years ago, and they still get these injuries. So it's just the players' fault that they can't stay healthy, and these guys are not conditioned, and they don't stay as healthy like they did in the 90s. Like I was saying, it's not a good thing, but when they were taking steroids, they never got injuries like this. So maybe they have to come up with some type of a substance maybe to keep these guys healthy, because these guys do not stay healthy like they did like 30, 40 years ago. I mean, it's just a different generation. I don't know what it is, but yeah, the Yankees definitely have to stay healthy. But the main thing with this team is they need to make the necessary moves to win the World Series.
We'll get into that. We'll stay on the track topic. We'll get to that because we're going to be talking about possible trades, movements. But let's stay on the topic as we knock them out of the park with the injuries. And I'm glad you mentioned that. Depth. We need depth. Now,
pitching. I have to say pitching, and we need bullpen help. And I think we still need offense. I mean, we need contact hitting. I still wanted them to get a third baseman and trade Donaldson.
We'll get to that, Chris Caputo. Let's not jump the rails, and then we're going to be all over the place. When we're talking about now with the depth, and if you're thinking these injuries are going to continue, like Chris, you were mentioning, there might be some minor injuries. We can't have guys injured like that. Let me ask this now. Do you trust what we have in the farm system down in the minor leagues in what we see to solidify the depth, if we make a move but keep the prospects down low? Do you trust the organization, what we see, to plug and play if guys go down, next man up mentality, Chris?
Yeah, see, that's the problem. Us Yankee fans, we trust what we have in the farm system. It seems like Cashman doesn't trust what we have in the farm system, and that's the problem. You don't want to trade these people, but you don't want to play these people. You can't have it both ways, Cash. And then you wait till the last minute when they don't have any value. That's the problem. You can't do that. If you know we need something, and we have a lot of, like, say, outfielders, we have a lot of outfielder depth. Why not trade some of that and get what we need right now, instead of waiting? It doesn't make sense. Like, he doesn't know what he needs to do. I just think we do have what we need in the minor leagues, or we have enough to trade for whoever we want, but Cash doesn't do it, and that's the problem.
Okay, now I'm going to go down Caputo with them like now. with the you see the young talent we have. We know who we want, who don't we want. Now, do you think Cashman? Now you could come in with the questions about the need. Do you look outside the organization for the needs that you think we need, or do you want to first give the farm system a shot first to fulfill those needs before we go get those ex-players that you wanted to talk about a few seconds ago?
Yeah, I want to get the needs that we need. I want the necessary needs, absolutely, because we need pitching, we need contact hitting, bullpen help. So yeah, I would have to sacrifice my farm system to get what we need, and that's pitching. And I do think we still need another starter because you can't trust Rodon and Severino with their health.
But my question to you: would you like it to come within the house, like from the minors, or would you want it willing to part to bring from outside to extract into the organization?
Yeah, I was just saying I'm going to have to trade guys if I have to. Peraza, Cabrera, Volpe. I mean, I'm not completely sold with this guy yet. I would give him until June or July at least. But if I still see this guy struggling, I'm not on board anymore with this guy. I mean, he's good, but he's not. Everybody was making him out to be like this Derek Jeter type player, and I'm sorry, I'm not impressed. I mean, his average is 203. I say go out there and trade for another starter like Zach Gallen or like Corbin Burns. I would one of those two pitchers I want here because those are the only two guys I think that would be available at the trading deadline. And for hitting, I don't know who they're going to trade for hitting. That's going to be an issue because Brian Reynolds re-signed with the Pirates. I don't know what's available for hitting. They said Ohtani would become available if the Angels are completely out of it, but the Yankees are not going to make a move like that because they never ever make a big move like that at the trading deadline. And I don't trust Cashman and this management to do the right thing to bring a championship here. I mean, I can't remember the last time the Yankees made a huge blockbuster deal at the trading deadline. I think
we'll get to that trade deadline stuff there. We don't want to give too much all in one shot because then we're going to be redundant. I want to hold your bullets for more later down because we got to fill a little more time. We don't want to give it all in the first 5 minutes and then we have 20 minutes left of going around and saying the same thing twice. I wanted to go now with we were talking about the starting pitching. Severino returns. He had a good outing. I'm going to ask this, Chris. Is there an issue with Domingo Germán? Because now the Yankees are going to police him, watch him now with the sticky stuff where his conference said Major League Baseball wasn't clear about the situation. Remember, if Domingo Germán gets another ejection, 50 games now, that you're going to lose another pitcher. Now, with the history of Domingo Germán outside of the baseball world, whatever, we know all the warts with him. And now with the stupidity, with the sticky stuff, although it could be, he sweats a lot, whatever, go in circles. Is there an issue with Domingo Germán where the Yankees could say, man, or do they have the luxury to say we can't deal with Domingo Germán? Is there a Domingo Germán problem, Chris, in your eyes?
Well, I mean, I know he had the domestic issue, but when it comes to this issue, I can't really blame him because I was on his side. It was tobacco that everybody was like, oh, he had something. It was tobacco. It was chewing tobacco, and then he even said next start I do, I'm not gonna put as much rosin, but he sweats a lot, just like I can't think of his name, Chapman. So yes. I don't see him as a cheater. The problem is the Blue Jays were just mad because they were getting their butt kicked. That's the problem. And I don't know. I like him. I mean, he had 2 good starts with us. Back-to-back good starts until this happened. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't have a problem with him right now.
All right. Do you think the Yankees have a problem with Domingo Germán, Caputo, or you had it yourself as a fan watching Domingo Germán? What's your temperature on Domingo Germán?
I think Domingo Germán just an average starter. That's just what he is, number 4, number 5. I mean, I'm not thrilled with the guy. I didn't like what he did when he hit his wife. I wanted him gone actually after that. And he's nothing to me but a relief pitcher anyways. I don't think he has the stuff to be a starter. I mean, some of these fans get a little too ahead of themselves with this guy. He's not a number 1 starter. He gets whacked. I mean, you ever see he starts when he gives up 10 runs? He's not that good. I mean, I wouldn't trust him in a big playoff game with your life on the line. I mean, he's just average.
Okay, Chris, I see you're shaking. You want to get involved in this one? Back to Caputo. Go ahead.
Nah, I was about to say, like, I agree with him. He's definitely not a number one starter, but he does have a potential to be a number three. But right now, what we have, he can never be a number three. I mean, he could be a 4 or 5. I like him. I mean, even with Jordan Montgomery when we had him, I like the consistency, and that's key when it comes to starting pitching. But the problem is, like we said last topic, is injuries. You can't be consistent if you're injured.
Okay, all right. And then I want to go to another starter. I'm going with the low level too, and I'm going to start working my way up. My next starter is on the table, and I already know what you're going to go with, Chris. But I'm going to throw it to you with Clark Schmidt. Personally, I'm going to give you my thoughts of first of Domingo Herman. Then I'm going to go right to Clark Schmidt. Me, Domingo Herman. Is there a problem with him? There's too many things in his ears. He has a talent. He is a talented young man who has good stuff on with the right catcher. I think if he has the right catcher, you could really get the best out of a Domingo Herman. He might be suited for a short reliever coming out the first arm of the bullpen that will give you 2 innings and could give you that 2 innings for a team. Go out there and go nuts. And I think Domingo Herman is probably a 5th starter on a championship team if they need him. But he's like that guy that fits like a Ramiro Mendoza type of role. You know, we could start him at times, put him back in the bullpen, long relief. He's like the number 6 or 7 starter on a championship team, you know, with that. Now, for Clark Schmidt is not I'm sorry, the way he's not commanding that cutter on left-handed hitters, he is not a starting pitcher. He is a hell of a reliever. You bring that guy out there as in the middle relief, this guy will get the job done. I don't think he's totally useless from the New York Yankees. I think Clark Schmidt has value as a middle reliever. I would like to see him in a 7th, possibly 8th inning role. I think he'll be successful. He will go out there. Hey, it's okay if you're a failing starting pitcher. Look at the greatest closer of all time. Wasn't a good starting pitcher. And his name was Mariano Rivera. I remember his start against the White Sox. Wasn't so good in a July weekend. He probably fits the bullpen. Now, I'm going to throw it to you, Chris. Clark Schmidt, your thoughts, then Caputo, and then we'll move on to a different topic.
All right. So, you already know how I feel about Clark Schmidt. He is definitely not a starter. So, can y'all, Cash, whoever, can y'all stop starting him, please? Like, you could see it. He's a bullpen reliever, which is fine. Like you said, Mo wasn't a starter. Michael King the same way. Michael King wasn't a good starter until he got in the bullpen, and look what happened. So I just feel like that's why me and Mike agree on this. We need more pitching, because if we got Clark Schmidt in our pitching rotation, that's a problem.
And I'm going to go to you, Caputo. I'm going to let you go. But Lamario, send me again in Twitter so I could follow you there. I tried that, and all it comes up is your old Twitter account, Lamario.
Yeah.
Caputo, tell me about Clark Schmidt. I know. Give me your thoughts. You could be uncensored, unfiltered. Go for it.
Yeah, Clark Schmidt sucks. I think he should be cut. I don't want him as a reliever or a starter. Okay. I don't want him on his team. I think he's as bad as when they had that other prospect, Chance Adams. He's something like that. Yeah,
nice one. Good name there. Well, look at that. That's a good one.
Yeah, he's garbage. He's complete shit. He needs to go.
Okay.
I don't know why they keep starting this guy over and over. It's redundant at this point.
Yeah, I don't agree though. I don't agree him as a starter either. But I do think I different there a little bit with the bullpen, and it's all okay if you want to out of the team. I get it. You've seen enough of negativity there where you might think he might not be able. He might be wasted goods, like you said, a chance at him. I can see that point. I'm going to give you a little bit. I'm going to give you credit there with that there. Now, a couple more pitchers before I want to talk about the hitting and the situational hitting before, and the main event will be the manager, because I can't wait for that one. But Nestor Cortez, I'm worried. I was like, nah, because here's the deal, Chris and Mike and everyone listening. Nestor Cortez, one of the things that we used to say and we used to love, how quickly he worked. Get the ball, pitch quickly, get ready to go. His watch along for one of the most funnest to do when we did it. Now that there's a pitch clock, hitters are getting ready. They're geared up for that. Get ready. And I don't think that takes away a little bit of the. I'm not saying we're smoke and mirrors from a Nestor Cortes, but that advantage of he had. And now guys are getting ready and they're becoming more comfortable of him where he's locating the ball. Also, I think Kyle Higashioka is not doing a service as a receiver with him behind the plate, calling some balls up and away on a right-handed hitter in the Baltimore series, where Nestor throws mid-90s, 93, 92. You can't get away with that up and away on a right-handed hitter from the left side. They're going to crush it. I thought pick selection hasn't been favorable for Nestor Cortes, and also that pitch clock, I think, is hurting a little bit of Nestor Cortes. Not in a bad way, because he likes to work fast, but hitters are getting adapted to it. I don't know, what's your thought, Chris, on Nestor Cortes?
Yeah, I mean, I guess they figuring out, his pitches now, and they're hitting them. But I mean, I don't know if we're gonna talk about Garrett Cole, but
we will.
Okay, so Nestor just gotta keep it moving. If they figuring him out, then he needs to come with something different and figure the hitters out. That's just the way of baseball. You always gotta adjust. You always, even for pitches, you always gotta adjust. So I mean, I don't see nothing wrong with Nestor. He just like they're figuring him out, so he has to do something different, because like you said, like the pitch clock is helping the hitter out now, because now they know what's coming. And when you have a catcher that don't know what he's doing, just like somebody in the dugout, that doesn't help neither. So okay. we're gonna see at the end and see what Nestor can give us.
Okay. Caputo, worried about Nestor Cortes?
Yeah, he has to fix his mechanics. Something's definitely up with him. He's not nasty anymore, that's for sure. I don't know what's going on with him. I'm more concerned with Garrett Cole. I'm worried about actually Garrett Cole now, because
let's go right to it. Give your thoughts on Garrett Cole.
Okay, the first month of the season, this guy was absolutely lights out. He was Cy Young candidate. Now he's back to being batting practice, Garrett Cole again. So I'm starting to, I hate to say this, I don't want to expose him, but I think for that first month he was taking Spite Attack, and then he stopped because Domingo Germán and Scherzer got caught. So he says, let me stop this. And now he's back to just average Garrett Cole again. And for the last 4 or 5 starts, he has been hittable. I mean, he just gives up the meatballs again, home runs, and he's a different pitcher again. He's just back to being that average Garrett Cole. What happened for the first month of the season? He was absolutely lights out. He didn't give up a home run. He looked like he was on his way to being a Cy Young. And I wasn't completely sold, but I was like, this guy has, the potentials to winning a Cy Young this year. Now he's just now he's back to reality again, like he did last year. And I'm just not impressed, man. This guy has to adjust to not using Spite Attack, because if that's all he only could pitch great with the sticky stuff, then he's not. I'm sorry, he's not a talented pitcher. And also, they're saying that he's not good with Higashioka, that he's better with Jose Trevino. So maybe that has something to do with it too, why he hasn't been pitching better. But Phil, I don't know. Now he's just been bad. This whole month he was hittable. Remember the game when they were up 6-0 against the Rays? He blew a 6-0 lead. So that's all you need to know about Cole. I mean, he's either lights out or he's hittable. And I can't have a guy like this do this for the next 5 years. I mean, we have him for 5 more years, and he can't pitch like this in the regular season every year. I know he's great in the playoffs, but he has to be like that damn good in the regular season, because you can't have a guy pitching with like a 4 ERA. I mean, his ERA is not 4, but it's going to get to that if he keeps doing this for the next 5 years. I mean, this is getting ridiculous. This is why they have to get more pitching. You can't trust Garrett Cole, man. Come on, against these lineups, you got to pitch better. He pitches good against bad lineups, but when he pitches against like a better team, he doesn't dominate them. I mean, it's proven. The Rays, the Blue Jays, the Astros. What is he going to do against the Dodgers? I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. All right. So your thoughts on Cole, Chris? You're worried. You're concerned. You think he's back to batting practice, Cole? Then, so Chris, your thoughts on Garrett Cole?
Yeah, like I brought it up on the watch along with the Rays. I can't really get mad because the Rays are suspicious of doing something this year, but the other teams, like it doesn't make sense because, like Mike said, like the first month he had like a 0.84 ERA, and then all of a sudden it just blew the hell up, and I'm like, what the hell happened? Is he injured, or is Mike right that he's using something? And Scherzer and Herman got caught, and it was like, I'm gonna dial it back some. I don't know. I can't pinpoint because it seemed like every year Cole is this close to figuring something out, and then something happens, like his mindset or something, and it falls apart. Dude should already be like a 3-time Cy Young winner, but because he keeps collapsing, it suffers his whole season, and then he doesn't get it. I'm sorry, Robbie Ray shouldn't have got the Cy Young, and Justin Verlander shouldn't have got the Cy Young. And it seemed like the only good team he pitches good against, probably because they didn't pay him, was Houston, because he dominates Houston. I don't see him doing too bad against Houston, but when it comes to everybody else, it seems like, if you're not the A's or if you're not the Reds, then you're giving up 6-7 runs, and your team. Don't get me wrong, we complain about this team not giving offense, but it seemed like when he starts, they give him something, and he just like, oh man, I ain't got to pitch that good today. Let me just throw meatballs and see if they're gonna hit it. And you got one of the best fastballs. Just locate it. Nobody can hit your fastball, bro.
Okay.
But you throw meatballs down the middle. I mean, it's not that hard. I mean,
it's fastball location with him. He's got a he's had a problem with that for the last like 2-3 years now. I don't know what's his velocity. I don't know. The spin rate on his ball has changed dramatically since he's come to the Yankees. So that's been a issue too. But he's just a different pitcher. He just collapses. He looks great and then he collapses. I don't know what it is with him anymore.
Here's a theory and a thought here. It's going to be a little bit long-winded, but here it goes with it when it comes to Garrett Cole, and not just Garrett Cole, few pitchers with the organization, with the New York Yankees. With Garrett Cole, we know certain pitchers go. Every pitcher you can hear it from David Cohn on the broadcast, from Ron Darling if you're a Met fan on the Mets broadcast. Any former pitcher that you hear, even smoked, pitchers tend to go through a season, sometimes twice in a season, what's called a dead arm period. They don't have the ump in their arm. They're a little sore. Remember, pitching is a form that you're throwing, unnatural to the human body to throw in the torque and the angles. And remember, some of these are high-powered athletes that they're trying to get that edge with that, like you said, spin rate, get the ball to spin, do things what the human body's not able to do with a baseball. The point is, he might be going through a dead-on period. This is the quarter of the season, and it's starting to go a little bit noticeable. The home run ball coming up. Also, the offense is getting the weather's getting warmer. The offense gets better. Also when his home runs started coming, it was a few of them. Like you said, Chris, the Rays, we have some suspicion with them, regardless of the fact he still gave up the ball. But when the other teams, with Higashioka behind the plate. Again, Higashioka didn't do no services to Nestor Cortez neither. Also, I don't like the Yankees' philosophy when it comes to their pitching coach, and this has been a problem right before Boone took over with Matt Blake. And Matt Blake is a hell of a pitching coach. I'm not saying Matt Blake is a bad pitching coach. He's not. He's actually a really good pitching coach. I really want to give him his flowers. Kudos. But they've changed their philosophy, the way they execute certain players. They're more slider heavy, more cutter centric. Before, when you had Stoudemire to Island as the pitching coach, and I'm missing one more Guidry, and I'm missing one more pitching coach. They featured a lot of the forkball or the splitter, and with Tanaka, when they had CC, when they had the dynasty, and they more slider, and slider is a helter-skelter pitch from a starter, because we always hear, listen, we tied a World Series off of Wallers, off of a slider of Lyrics. And then remember, it says you don't get beat you get beat with your best pitch, not your third best. And that slider is a dangerous pitch. I know Jeff Nelson made a career out of it and got us some World Series. My point is, sometimes their pitching philosophy of when they're going to execute it, when to ask for that certain pitch. Like you said, Michael, He's not locating. He has a hell of a. He got beat last home run last time with a fastball, and he got smacked. 98 mile per hour. You know what? The velocity is there. Like you said, the location. Also, that comes from the analytics department where they want to locate these pitches. There's too much interjection of the computer, even in the pitching selection. You know what? That's why I'm a big proponent, Chris. What do I always say? Let your starting pitchers be pitchers and your relievers be throwers. And they doing it backwards. To me personally, I feel as an Yankee organization, they want the relievers to come out and be pitchers. Well, no, they got to be throwers. That's why they're relievers. They got to give you. They're going to go out there and be flamethrowers for 1 inning, maybe an inning and a half, and that's it. Your pitchers got to be give you longevity. Learn how to pitch in and out of situations. So I think it's a little bit of everything, and it's not apologetic to him. But here's the thing: I want to give a food for thought. Sonny Gray came to New York. He didn't pitch well. Aroldis Chapman now is throwing the ball back up high in velocity. Of course, one pitcher that I love, because I thought he gave depth, and even though he wasn't great, was Montgomery. He said, "Oh, now they allow me to throw more of my fastball." So they're telling me there's pitch selection. The organization is even putting hampers on these pitchers or what they're throwing, and it's it's a little bit off-putting because when you start seeing Cole, like you said, Chris. Garrett Cole should have won at least one Cy Young Award in the New York Yankee uniform. Now, and then it makes you want to ask these kind of questions. And we don't know. We could go around and around in circles looking for that answer. And we can have all different types of opinions and interjection or even debates about it. But I think that's what's going on. My opinion with the Yankees, it's a little bit of everything. There's too many ladles in the soup.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's true. I mean, there's a lot to analyze with this. It's like a science with this team. And in general, I mean, the Garrett Cole, I mean, he should have had a Cy Young by now. I think the last time he was actually great, though, if you really want to be honest with me, is 2020. I mean, that was the last great Garrett Cole that I saw. Since then, this guy just been average.
Okay.
They're very disappointed. This was a very disappointing contract so far. I don't know.
Okay. I mean, here's the one thing I'm going to give him kudos and his flowers. Every 5 days, you're penciling him. Regardless of the fact that he's not pitching well, not pitching to our liking, whatever the case is, he's there every 5 days. He's there.
He's very durable. He does stay healthy. Yeah, and unlike DeGrom who never stays healthy. So Garrett Cole has given you durability. Like they say, the best availability is durability. He's always healthy all the time. So that's the key thing about him. If he only can pitch great.
I know you hit him hard with the money that he's making per year, but man, you know what? If I were to tell you without showing numbers, and I tell you he's gonna this pitcher's gonna make every one of his start, not miss a start, regardless of the numbers, and you'll be like, yo, I'll sign up for it. Look at Severino; he can't even pitch.
No,
stay healthy.
He never stays healthy. And look at
Rodon. He has talent. There's talent in Severino.
Yeah,
but it's not healthy. And Garrett Cole's one thing you got to give him his flowers and tip your cap to him. He's out there. Give me the ball every 5 days. I'm out there. So that I wish it's a perfect storm. Like I said, we could debate about that. I would love to know exactly what it is. It's a combination, I think, of a little bit of everything. Personally, it'd be interesting. I would love to see, and hopefully we might get that Garrett Cole throwing to Ben Roethlisberger. I want to see that combination. See what Ben might see.
Also, I was going to say there has to be something with Cole's conditioning because the guy just knows how to stay healthy. He's just a great, when it comes to conditioning and staying healthy. He must. I don't know who he's using for his training and conditioning, but keep using that guy because he's always, he's constantly always healthy, which is great. But I got to give him his props with that. The guy does stay healthy. But this team as a whole. That's another story for another day.
Well, we'll get into it. But that's the starting pitching. Now, here's the relieving part with the New York Yankees. There's an issue with the New York Yankees because they don't have a closer. And I know we could debate on who could be the closer. but they're going with Clay Holmes. They're going to die on that anthill of a Clay Holmes. Personally, I think Clay Holmes is a seventh inning guy who could come in really good in the seventh inning with that ground ball. Get that sinker ready to go there. I think they need someone crafty. I know Chris likes Waldy Peralta. I'm a little skeptical with Waldy still, but you know what? He's been proving that he's been getting the job done. I don't know. He's not going to be the one thing that worries about Peralta. He doesn't have to swing and miss that you could get 3 straight strikeouts, 3 straight hitters with strikeouts. He doesn't have that swing and miss ability. But I like the lefty, the crafty lefty, coming out there. If the Yankees are not going to upgrade, Michael King is starting to throwing his name in the hat as a closer. But what I'm afraid, he's coming back from a scare of injury that he avoided the surgery. The major surgery, but man, I don't want to overtax him. I don't want him. He's going to give us success. We get that false narrative that we don't need the closer, and then after the trading deadline, he's going to have to miss a significant amount of time, and we never made the move for a closer. So I will, it's a helter skelter when it comes to the bullpen. Tommy Claimley, it will be back at the weekend in the Dodgers, so he's got one more assignment. Depending how it goes, he'll be returning. He'll add more 8th inning, 7th inning, and make the game shorter. This is what and especially the way the manager utilizes bullpen. He only goes 5 with his starters, and then he's rushing to the bullpen 6, 7, 8, and 9. High leverage situation, and you're really high leverage when a run game, 2-run game with your pitchers out there controlling the narrative, and you're going to bring someone who might not throw strikes. It kind of gives backbreakers to the bullpen. Chris, your thoughts on your bullpen, your closer, and with the way it's being handled and etc.
Yeah, I don't think Clay Holmes should be our closer. I mean, like you said, Wandy, you don't really. I'm not saying you don't trust Wandy, but yeah, Wandy can be a little shaky. But I remember one time I think it was either Chapman or Clay. We were up by 2. They had bases loaded and no outs. He only gave up 1 run, and for him to do that showed me that he has something in him. So I mean, if he's not the closer, then I'll give it to King. But if not, then you gotta trade for a closer in the deadline. That is so crucial for a team to have a dominant closer, to where you could be like, boom, pencil him in. They're not hitting off him, and we don't have that. The last person we had that maybe when Chapman first came to us, but then after that, it's been closer by committee, and we don't need that, because if you go to that closer and he's shaky, he's gonna blow the game, and that's how we lose. And Boom, that's another default from Boom. He doesn't know when to bring the right person in, and he overuses our bullpen. So when the playoffs come, we have nothing because they are shot.
I agree with you there. Also, when you use your bullpen a lot, Chris, you put a lot of film out there for scouting report for hitters to see what your bullpen hit. One thing I loved about those 90, I'll give that right back to you, Caputo. Give me a second with this one. When you had those teams you always had the Yankees always had not a script, but you always knew it was going to be 7th, 6th inning. If the starters didn't kind of have it shaky, it would be Ramiro Mendoza will pitch. Then of course 7th inning would be Nelson, 8 Stanton, 9 Rivera. Good evening, good night, and see you later. Then you mix and match with Graham Lloyd. Mendoza, those there. That's it. That was Joe Torre's formula. Nothing simple, keep it simple, stupid. And sometimes you have to go back to keep it simple, stupid when you manage the bullpen. Not trying to be cute here and think about this and that. With that, Caputo, your thoughts on who should be the closer here if until we get it, until they make a move? Because I agree with you. I think they do need to make a move.
Yes, and the guy that I want is the guy from the Pirates, David Benier. That's the guy they should trade for. I mean, that's the only. Yeah, Benier. That's the guy. I mean, that's the only one I could see being lights out.
What is he? Let me ask you this: has he shown you that he could be a closer? Like
the guy Pirates? Oh, Clay Holmes. No, Clay Holmes is.
No, but Bernard. You thought Bernard? You think? Yeah.
I think he's got the stuff. He's pretty lights out. I mean, he's the only one. I mean, I would go out there and make a trade for. I mean, or Alexis Diaz, but I still the Yankees lit him up. I don't know. That's Edwin Diaz's brother. I'd rather have Bednar. I'd rather have him. And really, what other closers would be available that are really like lights out? I mean, that's the only one. The guy from the Pirates. There's nobody. Oh shit! Josh Hader is Josh Hader. I don't want Josh Hader. I saw the comments over here. I don't want Josh Hader. Josh Hader is look what happened when he went to the Padres. I mean, he's doing better now, but he did better in the playoffs. But I want the guy from the Pirates. Like that's the guy I would because it is closed by a committee. They don't even have a definitive closer on this team. It's terrible. Clay Holmes is nothing but like a seventh inning or eighth inning guy. That's it. I don't even know if he's that. He's just last year he's lights out, and then he completely collapsed in the whole second half of the season last year. And this year he's doing that again. Clay Holmes is terrible. Their bullpen's a problem. They burning that all the time.
Let me ask you this: until we can make a move, who do you want them closing then? If it's not Holmes, you have to have someone here until we make a move, and that move is not happening.
Oh, there's nobody that could really hold that mantle. The last great closer we had was Mariano Rivera. I'm sorry, I say what you want. There's been other ones after that, but the Mariano Rivera is the greatest closer of all time. All these other guys have just been like, I'm sorry, Rivera is nobody's ever going to touch Mariano Rivera. He was in a class of his own. He was the Michael Jordan of closer. There's never going to be another Rivera. But in terms of getting a closer, that's the only guy I can think of. The guy in the Pirates. I mean,
we can agree on this.
Yes, we can.
Kev.
No,
I'm seeing this in the chat. I do not want Liam Hendricks as our closer. We always kill this man. He is so inconsistent. I am good. I do not want him as a closer.
I don't want him.
I don't want him on his team.
No.
Good.
I don't want Chapman back. What?
I don't think Chapman. He finished on a sour note at the end of September with the Yankees. Remember, I think he missed. He didn't come to a volunteer workout and other stuff.
I agree with Kevin. I think he's going to the Mets.
He's going to.
Who the hell would want him anyways? The guy's trouble.
Dude,
no, he's pitching better now, Mike.
He's throwing 104 miles an hour.
Yeah,
he's pitching better. That's what I'm saying. We don't want him on his team, and he's not coming back.
But there's value around the league with him.
Yeah.
Also, he's got those problems. He didn't want to show up at practice. He got a tattoo without completely telling anybody about it, which was dumb last year. This guy's he's also
exactly. That's why I don't think a Yankee reunion is with him, because he left a bad taste with the Yankees. You're correct. I give you that. But I don't think he'll be here. Also, we can't see who. We don't know. You know what? The Pittsburgh Pirates right now they're thinking postseason. I don't know if Bednar will be available because they're close there for hitting the postseason, and they might be their division lead. You know, they might not make. We don't know who sellers are, so we could think of. We're dreaming of teams like that. The only teams we can really think about relievers really is an Oakland Athletic reliever, or a Kansas City Royal reliever. That's why Chapman name has come up. Yes. So those are the names. And keep an eye. That's why I'm hopefully Johnny Loizica should be back in the middle of the season there. Johnny, don't forget Loizica is another arm.
It's not going to be until late in the season.
Late in the season, okay.
That's
that's another arm that goes under the radar. We forgot that add depth to the pen. You know, when it comes to making a move, right now, only the really teams that are like really terrible, and those are the only ones. I don't even think the Marlins have any reason to ship up anyone yet. So it's easy to look at somewhere else. It's tough. We don't know who's available. We don't know who's available yet because there's the teams. This is why the month of June, in the middle of July into All-Star break. That's why we're taking the temperature here of a quarter of the season, despite the fact the Yankees are 9 games over 500. They could. You know what, Chris? Easily they could be over it. They could be in that double digit mark. And despite the way they played, it's not a miracle, but kind of appreciative. They're 9 games over 500 currently right now as we sit in Memorial Day.
Oh, this guy's asking about Luis Trevino and Scott Efron third out for the season, and Frankie Montas is out until
until the playoffs, basically.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Scott Barlow, nah, no thanks. I don't want Scott
Okay.
Barlow.
Okay. I mean, I don't. I got to see Scott Barlow's numbers because
Me too. I know he
I
was
gotta see his-
good, but
Yeah, he
I
was,
don't know
but-
what he's doing this year. Yeah,
I
I don't
saw
know
the
what
way
he's doing
he
this year.
pitches. He has a very what do you call it? Weird pitching motion. He's got
Yeah.
like that. I'm not impressed. I mean, he was good last year, but I'm not going off for one good season that he's going to be
No.
dominant with the
That's
Yankees.
That's why when dude brought up Josh Hader, don't get me wrong, I love Josh Hader, but he had a bad season last year. So
He
he
did.
has to prove this year, like all of this year, he has to prove that he can keep that ERA down. Because I remember when he came against us, Kev, I was like, well, let me see how he's doing. He had a under 1, and I'm like, okay, but he's got to keep that up. If he can keep that up, I wouldn't mind trading for somebody like him for next year. But this year, no, I don't want him because I got to see what he's got to be consistent.
Okay, if he was available by the Padres, I'm taking a flyer because it's a lefty.
I mean, yeah, of course I am. What I'm saying, though,
flamethrower
like as a closer,
Oof.
I don't want him as my closer.
Yeah, and then every time they get a big name, the Yankees, they always choke under pressure. Yeah, so I'm not for.
I don't think that's why but that's why I came back to that. I came back to that with the pitching. It's an organization philosophy. They want to throw certain numbers, throw them a certain way, not and go away from what made them an all-star or made them attractive to the New York Yankees. They want to now. Oh well, now I want you to throw more sliders, or we want you to throw this, and then that's taking away from the characteristic of a pitcher. And I think that frustrates them, especially when the catcher calls for pitchers listen to the game plan, and the game plan of the manager and the pitchers calls for certain pitches they throw. That's why, again, everybody, and we'll get to that in a second. This is why the managerial is very important, and we'll hold that, and we'll remember this point. We'll get back to that with the manager because I want to leave the manager for last. I really do want to leave the manager, but I'm trying to hold off. But you know what? That's what I want to. You know what? Let's go with the manager because I can't. It all is going to tie in here. The New York Yankees with this guy, he's been here as a manager for the Yankees for 4 years. He wins 100 games. One thing I do tell you, he does know how to manage the egos in that clubhouse. Everyone, you don't hear them disliking or. It's all, the toe, no, you'll see the guys with their handshakes and all that good stuff. Judge, even keel, Judge, they know what they play for him because they keep winning these games. But he doesn't do nothing for a manager to take the team to another level. This is my rant and my problem with Aaron Boone. You fired Joe Girardi the season he got you to the one game away from the World Series against the Astros. Regardless if the Astros was banging trash cans, banging their sisters, whoever, they still you wanted to get rid of Girardi because he was rigid. He didn't know how to communicate. He wasn't a communicator. He didn't collaborate. What was the other one? He didn't massage Gary Sanchez's ego because he told him to stop being lazy and get on that catching squat with two knees, not one knee on the ground, and you block the ball better. My point is, did we really? Let me ask you the question: did we really upgrade? Did he take the team to another level to championship aspiration? He did not.
No,
he has not. He does things. He doesn't do things to win baseball games, but he sure hell could do some to lose. There was 4 games because me and Chris do a lot. We do mostly 79 or 80% of the watch-alongs, and he's done games, at least 4 games here in his quarter season to lose them, not to win, making stupid moves after stupid moves that doesn't make baseball sense. And then he dares to go on John Boy Media. I give John Boy Media a little bit of credit because they put him on the Yes Network, and they could be marks and kiss the Yankees fanny, and they didn't. They put him on the spot. They get Boone, and they ask him about a certain play in extra innings that about question. If you're on the road, you have runners on second, the ghost runner. Why not put the next runner on and get first and second and play for a double play? You could have a force at third and second and first, and you still have the ghost runner with 2 outs. And he didn't know how to answer that question. And I was like, you know what? Kudos to John Boy Media. You know, I'm going to give you credit on that podcast that you asked him that question and you couldn't give an answer. And then he told him, you've been the grandfather and the same thing. I don't know if he's been hearing us or what, but talking about he's been born with the baseball in his blood. And he didn't, and he couldn't answer that question. Boone should be knowing how to manage baseball 1-on-1, and he doesn't show that. He doesn't do managerial things to win a game. If your offense is struggling and you know you have speed, put the damn speed in. Listen, yesterday's game alone, I give you an example. IKF on base, he steals second. The catcher throws a ball into center field. He goes to third now. Now, you know what that does? It keeps the defense on their toes. Higashioka gets a C9 single to Bogart, score the 9th run. You know how big it made it? It made it a 4-run game. It didn't allow the Padres to bring the tying run. If that run didn't score without him running or stealing that base, Fernando Tatis would have been your tying run at the plate. And you know he was salivating. If it was a 3-run game, he was salivating to hit a home run and stick it to the Yankees. But you're down by 4, it's different. Because a 3-run home run doesn't do nothing. It makes it just a 1-run game. Those are the little things, fellas, that Aaron Boone, as a manager, doesn't elevate the team to win. He's a winning manager, yes. And again, I'm not saying he's a terrible, horrible, but he's not a championship World Series manager. He is, and I think the Yankees' philosophy is, let's just make the postseason. Let's win. We could sell more 99 burgers, at the stadium. We could get you for $25 chicken fingers, and we could give you diabetes with the milkshakes at the stadium. That's what, and we're gonna sell T-shirts, and you know what? The Jedi is gonna buy the Yankee package. He'll watch the games, all 162 games, and so forth. We got your money. And that's what it's showing. We it's all good. We want World Series. I don't think Aaron Boone is the World Series manager, Chris. And the thing is, who do we bring to succeed him? I don't know who's out there, but he's not a World Series manager. He doesn't do things to win World Series, and I don't think this is where I think the Yankees might fall short this season because of the X's and O's.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even just that. I mean, I remember when I'm still trying to figure out who told DJ to bunt that game.
Exactly.
Like, that doesn't make sense. And then we like, oh, you got to pinch hit Calhoun and put maybe Bowers in because Bowers can run a little. Oh no, we're gonna keep Calhoun and we're gonna pinch hit Volpe. That doesn't make sense. Like, dude doesn't know how to navigate when it comes to hitting. I don't know if he's not. Is he blind, or is he stupid, or both? Because he doesn't know how to like manage. And like me and Kev are watching the games, and we're like, why is he not using speed? We have Bader, we have Volpe, we have Peraza, we have IKF, Cabrera. Like, we have speed, but he's like, oh man, they get on base. And this is why people get mad at Volpe, because they're like, oh, Volpe not really doing nothing. This man hasn't get caught stealing yet, and he's not using that to the advantage. It doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. And to be honest, the only manager I can see replacing him, maybe not this year, but next year, and I don't want him on the Blue Jays because it looks nasty, is the former captain, Manley. Like, it surprises me, and people got this notion, oh, I don't want to be in the manager because that might taint his legacy. No, it won't taint his legacy. As a player, he was great. As a manager, we don't know yet. We only get based off previous, teams like the Dodgers and the Marlins and stuff. And don't get me wrong, the Marlins messed him over. So I want to see what he can do. I mean, I wanted the dude from the Mets. I can't think of his name.
Buck.
Yeah, Buck. But the problem is he bucks the system, and they don't like that. They don't like the boat being rocked. And that's the problem. Y'all need to get that computer out your butt. And that's why Dusty stayed with the Houston Astros, and they got rid of the manager because that's all the general manager gave a crap about was analytics. We got to get away from that. Like, I'm not saying analytics is not important with the team, but if you don't have the feel for the game, analytics is just a bunch of piece of paper that you can wipe your ass with. That's it.
Preach.
But that's all I gotta say. I don't care how many 100-game wins he get. What does he do in the postseason? Nothing. And they win in spite of him. Joe Girardi at least got a championship. He has a championship. He almost took the Marlins to a championship. He's a manager. He reminds me of Eric Spoelstra. It doesn't matter what he has. He's taking that team somewhere. Right. Boone can't do that crap for nothing. He sucks. I'd rather the third baseman coach as our manager. At least he got some cojones.
Right. No, I agree with you on that. I've been saying that. Here's a move. Here's a crazy move. Ben Rothneff is a left-handed hitter, right-handed pitcher on the mound. This is the game, I believe, the Orioles game, if I'm not mistaken. That me and you had a conundrum on it. Ben Rothneff, I understand he's a catcher, whatever the case, but he's a lefty. You take him out for a left-handed bat, where he's a lefty for Blowers. Blowers strikes out, and I don't care about the result, but look at the ramification of the move. You lost Rothneff, one player. You lost Blowers, then you brought in Higashioka. So you brought 3 baseball players when your bench is already tiny, is shortened, and then why? If it's a lefty, if I understand it was Higashioka and you're gonna pinch hit Blowers and you put Rothneff, I get it, because you have righty on righty isn't to your advantage. What was the play there? That was stupid.
And then Calhoun got on base, and then you switched him out for Greg Allen. You wasted like 4 or 5 players right there.
Exactly. And then you bring in yes. Why? And then Greg Allen. I get Greg Allen is a speedster, and whatever the case is, if you gotta put Greg Allen is to run the bases. What is good is Greg Allen doing for you as a designated hitter? When he's a speedster who could defend on the outfield, you put Blowers as a designated hitter if you're gonna switch for Calhoun. There's moves there that doesn't make sense. And you know what they tell you when you ask those questions? No, we like our matchups, and analytics tell us. Analytics, again, these moves are like, what? They haven't won a World Series. When was the last time the Athletics won with analytics? They haven't. The Rays haven't. They're big analytics teams. They don't win World Series. They'll make you win in certain ways, but that's the manager's job. You're taking the manager's job of thinking, feeling, having the temperature of the damn game and putting it on the field and go by hunches. How many times Zimmer and Torrey has so many hunches to play a Chad Curtis in left field? Chad Curtis almost became the MVP of the 1999 World Series because they went on a hunch. Or Shane Spencer, who had multiple home run games for the Yankees down the stretch because he had a hunch. The kid has seen something. You know what? The kid has seen the ball well. Not now these days. IKF could get hot. Boy, he's going to sit the next day. He almost hits the cycle. No. He needs a day off, a scheduled day off. And then he comes in, and then you expect IKF to hit when you sat him in hot momentum. Go ahead, Chris. It just don't make sense.
I wanted to say this. I want to get Mike in this. Mike, let me ask you a question, man. Is this a sport or is this a movie?
It's a sport.
So why are we basing off scripts? I don't understand that. Throw that script out the window.
You got to talk to the analytic department for that. But Aaron Boone is just an all-around terrible manager. I mean, he should have been fired many years ago. You could thank Brian Cashman for that and Al Steinbrenner. I thought this guy should have been fired since day one. I don't like him. I don't care that he's a good person. All Michael Kay talks about is how good of a person. The guy sucks. He's a terrible manager. I don't care about his personality. The guy's terrible. He doesn't have the baseball mind. I don't care that he was brought up in a baseball family. The guy, I don't know if you remember when he first got the job in 18, his mother and father, his own parents said that he's not a good manager. What does that tell you about the guy? They did say that. They did say that. They actually did quote that in the that is true. Do you remember that?
I do remember, Mike. Now you know what, kudos on that one. That's sad, man. You're instead of getting the biggest, and you know that your parents are your biggest vote for confidence, and you got that one from him. Yeah.
That's why he didn't talk. I mean, and they did, and how the media and how the players like they said this guy's a players manager. Have you ever heard of something called accountability? I mean, do the Yankees even have that? Because all they care about is he's a players manager.
You know why he's a players manager? When he goes on those rants on the field for when he protects his players for the strike 3 calls, or the pitchers don't get the strikes. You know, when that time in Cincinnati last Sunday that he got ejected early for arguing. You know, and rightfully so. I think when that happened, we said that, Chris. We said, you know what, Boone. I remember saying that on Sunday. I said Boone's gonna get ejected from this game here because the umpire is very inconsistent. You'll see, and bam. He got it. You know, you could tell when he's going to get the ejections. He does get his players back, though. When it comes to that, I got to give him credit. He does have his players back. Players seem to gravitate to like him. But what I think the Yankees made a disservice when they hired Aaron Boone, and I don't know if they didn't want him to feel uncomfortable, whatever the case was, or maybe he even negotiated that. They should have brought a bench coach who had managerial experience next to him as his bench coach, as his confidant. A la, you know, Joe Torre had Zimmer. Zimmer is a Hall of Fame manager, and he had no problem taking that second fiddle sitting next to Joe Torre, and Torre didn't have any egos to keep him there. You know, there was times where they wanted to fire Torre and put Zimmer in as a manager in the 98 World season when they started off a little stretch. And lucky that Joe Torre had that prostate cancer procedure. I was scared that they kept, you know, it wouldn't have been aesthetically wise for Steinbrenner to do that, and they kept them around. So sometimes, you know, a good bench coach goes a long way to help. And I think the Yankees did a disservice by not bringing a good bench coach to Boone. And kudos, and you know what? Shame on Boone for not having that confidence to bring in himself to bring a bench coach to have good baseball knowledge, a good baseball man by his side there to help him navigate with the teams, with the X's and O's and other things.
Yeah, and also watching his press conferences. I don't watch them at all. I think they're horrendous, his press conferences. They're cringeworthy when you watch them. I don't know what these answers that he gives. I mean, this guy, he's become like he's just the worst manager.
He's a puppet. He's a puppet. He likes to have Cashman's finger. Cashman has his finger so far up at him and makes him talk, and that's what it is. And that sucks. That's the perception that's Yankee fans that we have for him.
And what's crazy is how is so secure about his money, but then you letting Cashman just been stupid with it. If I'm giving somebody my money and I care about my money, but then at the same time I don't care because you let Cashman make stupid moves with it, that doesn't make sense. You need to open your eyes how Cashman is using you. You need to get rid of this man. I don't care if he's family. Yeah. Y'all got rid of him. I don't understand that.
I mean, maybe last year saying that the dome was closed in Houston. Oh, we didn't win the game because the stadium wasn't open.
Yeah, it's always an excuse. Don't get me wrong. Astros cheated us out of getting to the World Series. Yes, we can keep saying that, but it's getting old. Astros is kicking our butt. It don't matter if they cheat or not.
Yeah, the Astros swept them.
What are we doing? What are we doing about it to prevent it on the field? It's still at the end of the day, you still got to hit the ball, you still got to field it, you still got to pitch, no matter regardless. And we're not doing that when it comes to these teams. So no matter how much they can say they're cheating or doing whatever, something out of the ordinary, but we're still not doing what we need to do. Execute our game plan, pitching, hitting, situational.
I still say the main problem on this team is Brian Cashman. I think he's the root of all evil. I think
I'm going to go even further. I think it's the owner, because he doesn't want to get involved with the team, and he doesn't want to get involved and make the tough decisions. So he gives that responsibility to Cashman. Cashman's the buffer, but Cashman will put the buffer. And you know what? Because he could easily change the general manager, but if then he gets a new GM that's going to put pressure on the ownership and say, "I need this, this, and this." Cashman, you know what? The owner says, this is your budget. Go do what you need to do and leave me alone. I'm going to go sit here in a yacht and make money.
Yeah. Remember the quotes of Hal Steinbrenner last year saying that we're not done yet. He always says we're not done, and they do absolutely nothing. I mean,
that's just cliffhangers. Those are cliffhangers. That's what you want to hear from him as an owner. He tells you the right things as an owner, and then he just disappears because you know what? Yeah. Cashman's running it. He's running it, and he's just delegating the situation to Cashman.
This year, you remember it was the big move. The big move. What was the big move? We still waiting on a big move.
Oh yeah, big blockbuster trade. I think they want to get the fans hyped. They want to get them on the edge of their seat. It's just gaslighting the fan base. You're telling everybody you're going to make.
Is that the fan base is very loud when they want to when they have a strong opinion, when they want certain moves, certain things done, and that's the move. That's the right things to tell the masses to relax and calm them down, because he's gonna say, "Oh, we're done." People will have a conundrum. He would have said, "Oh, that's it, Judge, and that's it." People would have had a conundrum. So we got to know how to read in between the line. We need, and of course, Dave are correct. We need pitching. Plain and simple. We need pitching and more pitching. Here's the thing that if I'm Howe, I will be getting upset with Cashman and the minor league system is you have not developed a top pitcher prospect in quite some time here, at least two. Randy Vasquez, speaking of that, came up here against that Orioles start, was very good. I remember, that 5 innings, he gave up that 2-run shot. I said, you know what? He earned the right. That was Friday, excuse me. It was Friday. He deserved to get another start. He didn't pitch bad.
Yeah.
The Yankee offense could have helped him, make the kid feel great, but you gotta put that. We have to start asking our scouting department, when have we developed a top pitching prospect in quite some time? And we haven't. Clark Schmidt didn't have it. He was drafted highly and he's pitching, but still hasn't really developed. And it comes with the pitching choices, the damn slider. It's time to get away from the little bit of the slider in the minors and start teaching a different pitch here, because it doesn't look. It's not looking feasible.
Pitching prospects are not the answer here. I don't trust any of the pitching prospects. Anybody they call up from their farm system, I think they're going to be a dud, because it's just the way it's been with pitching.
All right, so why is that? Why when you hear a pitching prospect come up? Because when I heard back in, and of course, guys, again, we're dating ourselves, but when I was hearing Pettit coming up, Sterling Hitchcock come up, Ramiro Mendoza come up, they were interesting. Even Mariano Rivera, we heard when he came, he wasn't a good starter, but there was hope. When you started hearing names, like that, Jabba Chamberlain, before that, Chiming Wan. You're like, well, all right, we hear the names and we hear what they're going down and we get excited. And Luis Severino was the last one, but what Luis Severino was tarnishing him is healthy. But we're like, okay, Severino seems like a good kid coming up from the minors, but we haven't had that. What happened to Davey Garcia?
Oh, he's horrible. And
how we know? Has he gotten a fair shot? I don't think Davey Garcia hasn't gotten a fair shot to say he's horrible.
His numbers are horrible. He hasn't really got a fair shot, but his numbers are absolutely atrocious.
But again, I go back and I'm going to die on this on a handhill myself. I'm saying Davey Garcia, he doesn't want to be in the minor leagues. He tasted postseason start. He tasted being in the regular roster. And you send them back down to the minor leagues the next year after 1 inning of a postseason start. He doesn't want to. Some guys don't want to be in the minor leagues, traveling in those bad cities, low lighting. He was on the main club. He pitched a postseason for the most decorated team in all of baseball history, the New York Yankees. And you're telling him to go back to the minors? What kind of psychological moment is that on that poor kid? He doesn't want to be in the minor leagues. He wants to play in the big leagues. Give him a fair shot. All I ask, give that kid a fair shot to earn, and you haven't. They I don't know what happened with Davey Garcia. They ruined him.
Yeah, his confidence is shot. Like how you be like, oh yeah, you're gonna start a postseason, and then you take him out after a couple innings. Like
one inning, Chris. Yeah, 1 inning.
That doesn't make sense. Yeah. And then you put on a pitcher that got rocked. So it's like you didn't even like substitute for a good pitcher. You gave him an average pitcher and said, "Oh yeah, it's your turn." That doesn't make sense. You just you wasted
his confidence.
2 pitches and then you destroyed his confidence. Where's Hap? Hap is not even on the team no more.
Exactly. He's not even, for a guy who there wasn't even plan on staying beyond that start with the Yankees. You ruined it. You forgot
about Luis Gil. I mean, look what they did to him. I mean, I think they kind of misused him too. He was pitching great, and then they just ruined him with trying to put him in the bullpen, put him in the rotation. Now he's injured. He has Tommy John. I blame the management for that. They screwed him up. Now he's another jelly on.
And all because they were trying to copycat an organization. They were trying to copycat the Tampa Bay Rays, the way they brought up David Price and others. Remember, David Price came in as a reliever when they made that World Series run. and he was a reliever coming out. And then they made him a starter. And then they did it with other pitchers in their system. They will bring him in late as a reliever. Then the next year, there was a starter. The Yankees trying to get cute. They're trying to do the same thing. We are the New York Yankees. We set the bar. We don't play under the bar, and that's the problem.
Okay. This is another thing too. If you think about it, when we had Ian Kennedy, Phil Hughes, and Java, what was happening? Bullpen, starter, bullpen, starter.
They didn't know.
So what happened? Who's the one constant when that happened to right now? It's Cashman.
Yep.
Cashman needs to go.
Yeah, he had to go 20 years ago, I think.
Now,
like you ruined Albert Chamberlain.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But even when Cashman goes, what's going to happen in their development minor league system? They're still going to have the same scouting department.
Yeah.
I'm right now. I'm very encouraged. One thing I'm going to give you, encouragement. I'm encouraged that we still have Saban there now. Came over this season, and as well as Omar Minaya.
Yeah,
they brought some smart men in their system, in their farm system. Hopefully, they could start implementing their scouting techniques to help the Yankees get some good, and not just international players, good players around this country with this collegiate draft coming up here. I know that, look, the Yankees aren't selecting high either. The game today, Steve, is at 9:00 tonight. I'm sorry, I saw that question there. I didn't mean to ignore it, Steve. It's at 9 p.m. tonight in the West Coast. They're not implementing. I want them to go get some diamond in the roughs, get some players, get some scouts, get some minor league players that, low level college that might, Piazza was a low level, a late round draft pick and turned into a Hall of Famer. There's players out there, but you have to have the scouts do the work and do the right thing, and don't go by analytics. There's something about sending a scout with it to look at it with their eyes, and you could tell with your eyes if this guy has talent or not. And I think the Yankees, they've been missing a lot on their prospects because they're going by that damn freaking analytics. They look at the numbers, they go do the math equation, and oh no, this player isn't worthy for our prospect, for our system. Go and send the guys. Nothing hurts more as a good old-fashioned scout to go on the road, drive up and down, get a pen and paper, write all the deficiencies and all the positives on a baseball player in the middle of Iowa, Nebraska, Florida, wherever the hell they're going to. Send their asses there, make them look at them and scout them with your eyes, see what's something. That's what made Stick Michaels and his scouting team very different and special years later to us as Yankee fans, because they did the work. They went to Kalamazoo, Michigan, and they saw a young man named Derek Sanderson Jeter, and they brought him in here. They went to Puerto Rico, and they went and found a Jorge Posada and a Bernie Figueroa Williams. They went and saw that. They did the scouting. They did the work. They didn't rely on a freaking mathematical equation to see if they fit the team or not. And that's what's missing with this organization.
And I want to say this too. Pick it back on that. If you look at the last 30 years, like I'm not saying like Posada and them not good, but if you look at the last 3 good players, like great players that we had, was Jeter, Cano, and Judge. Look at that gap. That's a big gap.
Yep.
Like that's sad. That is not good.
Mm-hmm.
That is not good at all.
I've been saying this for many, many years now. This team is not where they need to be, and they have an enormous ways to go to get to a World Series again. And it starts with the management. It starts with the front office. We have a horrible, lousy front office that needs to. They got to clean house. I don't know what they're waiting for. When are they going to finally change our ownership?
We haven't had a third base prospect. Listen, we've always had a third base prospect similar in the minor system. We was it Michael Lowe. Before Lowe, we always had we had Blowers. We always had a third base prospect, even though they didn't probably, Russ Davis. We always had that third base prospect in the minors. We haven't had a third base prospect, and I don't know how long, God knows how long, that we got excited here. You can't tell me Peraza or Volpe, because they don't even know what position that these guys are going to play. Is it going to be second base? Is it going to be whatever? I don't know. They haven't gotten that. Chris, I know you have to get ready to make some money here. Give me your final thoughts, because we'll be wrapping up soon here.
Yeah, I just think something needs to change. I don't want to be winning games despite of the manager. I want a manager to be helping us winning these games. That's not delusional or that's based on off movie scripts. Like I said, like if you don't have the feel of the game, analytics is basically toilet paper. You might as well wipe your ass with it because you're ruining what the numbers are speaking to you about, and it just you're ruining players, you're ruining bullpen arms, even pitchers. I mean, the confidence. I don't care if you can manage egos. It doesn't suffice that you're a puppet, bro. And you need to go. Cashman needs to go. I mean, if we can get Howard to sell a team, that'd be even better too. I just think something needs to change. And I hope y'all have a good Memorial Day. Thank you for having me on, Kev.
You got it, brother.
Nice seeing you, Mike.
Yeah, nice.
I hope all y'all have a good day. Peace out.
Thank you, Chris.
Have a great day.
Thank you, Chris. Happy Memorial Day there. Now, we're going to wrap up a little bit here. We're talking about this organization for the regular season, for here, the first part of the season, at least the first quarter part of the season. November this year, now we got June to the trading deadline. Now we're going to see who separates. They did the first domino. Aaron Hicks no longer on this team. A move that had to be done. That move had to be done for his psyche, for the fan base, for him to move on, and also open up that roster spot there in left field. But this one thing that frustrates with the New York Yankees, they're not letting anyone particular to try to win that job. They kind of like this revolving door in left field. That's what they're giving me as an impression, and it frustrates me because IKF, I'm not saying he should be everyday left fielder, but right now right now he's hot. He's hitting the ball. Personally, I would love Greg Allen to be the left fielder, win that job, but I want him to win it. I don't want him to just give it to him as a token because he was an outfielder and you give it to him. If IKF is outplaying him, you got to consider IKF, but you can't have this revolving door. Like, it feels like they don't want they like this chaos or this uncertainty in that position. Why not let someone try to win it and go for it? There's nothing wrong, and every day when the lineups come up, you have a consistency of the lineup. But they always got something helter skelter. They look like they take a name out of a hat. They'll just keep the first three names ideally, and the rest out of a hat. Mix, and it's like, whoa, it's like, can we have some consistency and something that we can look forward to? Nothing's wrong with some consistency in life. Everything constant is good. It's a good thing. Sometimes you do switch it up when things aren't working, but with the Yankees, it's like, what the heck? What's going on with this lineup? Also, I don't think Gleyber Torres should be a leadoff hitter. He doesn't work the prototype of a leadoff hitter. He doesn't work.
I still say they should try to trade him in the trade deadline. See what you get from him. He's got
that's a different question there as well. But he shouldn't be leading off. You got. I think Harrison Bader should be now your leadoff hitter. I think Bader does. But I think Bader has the speed. They tried Volpe. I understand they didn't want to use Volpe there. I don't know. They didn't. They gave him a small amount. But when Volpe was leadoff, then Jeter.
I still don't like this lineup.
Went down with the injury, and then you had to move Volpe out of there.
Can we talk about the lineup before we close out the show?
Yeah, let's go with the lineup. The lineup.
I still don't like this lineup. I still think we need situational hitters. I mean, guys that like bat the ball, guys, like I said, hit the ball the opposite field. They still don't have a consistent lineup, and all they do is Aaron Boone keeps doing is shuffling the lineup every single day, changing the lineup. Doesn't keep the same lineup, which just pisses everybody off, and they don't have a lineup that is consistent enough where they have no like contact hitters. DJ LeMahieu, I don't know what's going on with him anymore. He's not the same DJ LeMahieu.
His better days are behind him.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I totally. If he was a stock, I'm selling my DJ LeMahieu stocks. I wouldn't
mind at this point because he hits 250 every game. That's not the hitter that we signed up for. He was supposed to be a 300 plus hitter. And when he won the batting title, we haven't gotten even close to that. And there's really literally just only three good hitters in this lineup: Judge, Rizzo, and Beta. After that, who scares you in this lineup? This lineup doesn't scare anybody. The Yankees are just 2 home run or nothing, and that's all they've been for the last 7 years. We just see nothing but the same old with this team. They don't want to change their approach. Everything is hit a home run or strikeout. They don't hit for average. They don't hit the ball to the opposite field. They're not a consistent ball club. They don't have the right players. That's why they never win the World Series. This is why we're still waiting for a championship, 14 years, and they still don't know how to get this right with this lineup. It's pathetic. They don't make the right trades. They don't make the right signings. I hope they never make a Josh Donaldson conical up trade ever. They better not ever do that crap ever again. That was a train wreck. And
their whole trade there, Kabuto, for that was because they were getting a hell of a catcher in Ben Rovnek, and they were getting a stopgap shortstop.
Oh, yeah.
But they had to take Donaldson's contract, and neither one. Ronev hasn't been healthy, and now that he's here, let me ask this now. Come Tuesday, probably tomorrow, possibly, Jose Trevino comes out of the injured list, available to come play, and he's an all-star catcher. You brought Ben Rovnek up here, and you have Kyle Higashioka. Boone said he's not going to carry three. He's not carrying three catchers. Who would you move? Say again?
I would cut Higashioka. I would have Trevino and Ben Rovnek stay here. They're
not going to do that because Ben Rovnek has more options to go to the minor league, so they're going to send him back down. So now you're going to ruin Ben Rovnek because he says, I'm going to have a chance. And let me tell you something. The small sample size I saw Ben behind home plate, when he blocks the ball, I saw a play there that the ball bounced, and he used his bare forearm to stop a ball from going into the backstop so the runners do not advance to second base or third. And he stopped it there. And then there was another play where the ball scooted away from him. He pounced up and he went sprinted after that loose ball, and none of the base runners advanced. The minute Higashioka gets behind the plate, players are running. Teams are running on Higgy. And it's not a pick because Higgy had a hell of an offensive game last night or yesterday afternoon. A couple hits, but that's far and few in between where he gives. I don't think he's had a good receiving of a catcher, of calling balls and strikes or navigating a baseball game with his pitching staff. And also, I don't think his hitting and his to me, more the catcher who, if you get hitting, it's a bonus. But with a catcher, you want them to call a good game, frame the pitches, and also keep the running game to a minimum. Teams see Higgy, they salivate, they run. Especially now that the stolen base has been implemented more in baseball this season. Teams are doing this and they're salivating. And I think you can't go with Higashioka as your catcher going forward long term with the running game going. I think if they make a move, it will be probably after the trading deadline. If Higashioka continues to struggle and they continues to have these defensive laps here, and Rovnev continues to play extremely well in the minor leagues, I think they might make that move, but I don't think it's going to happen just yet the way we want it, because at the end of the day, Trevino has value. He is a all-star catcher, regardless if his numbers say or not. He did make the all-star team, and still, all in all, I don't know, they'll get rid of Trevino. So they have a pickle there with that there. Also, July, the big number, I got to find out exactly what date it is. I mean, June, come June, I think it's like in the 17th, fellas. I might be wrong. Don't quote me on that. I don't know the number for sure. Is when you could bring June, when you could bring your minor league players up and doesn't count as service time in the major.
Yeah.
So now you could bring in some from time to time, or if it's a little cold, you could bring up a Dominguez to play, and they won't count as service time. You could bring an Austin Wells up. You could bring a Spencer Jones. I don't think they'll do it because I don't think they want to add them onto their 40-man roster and lose a player, like that in their 40-man. So that's another thing.
Yeah, I think Dominguez has been struggling too as of late. I heard he's not doing too well in the minors, but I mean, they have to make a trade to. They have to make a they have to light this team on fire, man. They need something. I don't think this team is all the way back. They still, like I was trying to tell you in the beginning of the show, they still have a tremendous amount of work to do. And forget about a World Series. We're not winning.
They're still listen. They're going to finish over 500. They're going to make the postseason. I'm gonna give you my final thought. They'll make the postseason. Personally, I think so. I still think they'll probably be a second, the first wild card of the availability. I think Tampa barely wins the division. I think Tampa's gonna come back to earth. They haven't had any injuries. They'll get hurt. They'll get some injuries. They'll minor hiccup here and there. I think the Yankees will fall short by a game or two because of the managerial blunders. And I think they'll fall that second wild card, that first wild card. And I personally think that they will lose in the playoff again. I don't see them going to the World Series. I think they'll fall short in the American League Championship Series. I don't think they'll go to the ALDS. I think they'll win. They'll get to the divisional, probably lose in the divisional in a tough series. Hopefully I'm wrong, but they got to show me something. Only way I could change my mind if everyone goes into the postseason healthy. When I'm talking about Stanton, Severino, everyone, no injuries, and they start hitting their stride. And I can't count on that.
Even healthy, they're not a World Series team. Even this team in full strength, we've seen this before.
But
they're still not good enough to win a World Series, even 100%.
But sports has been funny. Look at all the major sports. When teams go into the postseason hot, anything can happen. Look at the Florida Panthers in hockey. They beat the Bruins, they just got hot the right time, and they're in the Miami Heat. They were 8 seed, struggling. And I know it's a whole different sport, and of course I'm not trying to, different sports cross promotion is so different. I know that, fellas. But my point is, when a team is inspired hot and going in with momentum, that's what the Yankees have not done under Boone. They don't finish strong with momentum. They kind of back in. You're nail biting. Yeah.
They were tremendous the first 3 months of the season last year, and they were on pace to win like 125 games. And then the second half, it was a different story. They had almost like a meltdown, like a collapse, and they just backed in. I mean, they won 99 games, but they barely. I mean, they did get into the playoffs, but I don't think they really made it. Like it wasn't unanimous. I mean, they almost had like a melt, like an epic meltdown. There. I mean, that was pretty embarrassing.
That's why my hope is a little bit. I'm hoping for a reverse fortune. They didn't, they're struggling a little bit. They don't look so great here, even though being 9 games over 500. Okay, you guys are, and I know some other fan base might say you guys are some spoiled Yankee fans. You're 9 games over 500, and you're complaining about this team making it seem like that detriment. No, we're not complaining them as them being detriment, but we see warts and deficiencies that we see year in and year out that hasn't been corrected. The definition of insanity, doing the same things over and over and thinking for a different result. And we're starting to see them doing the same things over and over. Runners in scoring position with less than 2 outs. They strike out. They don't move the runner over. Ran at third with 1 out. They don't get the fly ball. You guarantee more. 90%. I don't know why analytics don't put that up there in the analytics department. 90% of the times they're going to strike out. They're not going to get that runner in.
Well, everything is home runs with them. That's all they think about. Well, when all you have to do is hit the ball the opposite field.
And that's an organization philosophy. There, that's an organization philosophy. That's not a baseball. That's not the right baseball move. That's an organization, because organization wants you to. They're worrying about the launch angles.
That's it.
And the exit velo instead of getting.
But it does not work in the playoffs. Home runs do not work in postseason play. You have to have strategy. You got to have a high baseball IQ, and you got to bunt, sacrifice fly, squeeze play, whatever. That stuff is not in the Yankees' agenda. They don't do that stuff in the playoffs. They just want to hit a home run and think it's going to go their way the whole rest of the way, and it doesn't. And they're just not a high IQ baseball team. Like I've been telling you, they're a seasoned team, the Yankees. That's all they are.
You're right. They don't play the high IQ baseball.
No.
Although, boy, if you would have loved yesterday's 5th inning with the Yankees, though, they had 8 runs on 11 hits, and they were just hits after hits, and they were going first or third, running the bases. That's the kind of baseball that we want to see. Night in, night out, and they don't go first or third. Sometimes they run. Glaber sometimes is an adventure running the bases where you shouldn't be. You should know, because they're not emphasizing this. They prefer if you're going to run the bases, you're going to run it around for the home run. No, you got to learn how to go to first and third, and that's the reason why I think Buck Showalter, they passed on a Buck, because he was going to hold them. They were going to hold the team the accountability of going to first and third. I understand people say, well, he's not doing that in Queens. That's a whole other conversation story, what's going on with the Mets. But with him, that's his philosophy. That's how they have the Orioles play. That's how they have the Diamondbacks play. Simple baseball fundamentals, first and third. No way Buck Showalter would have tolerated that play by the center fielder Bader, who tried to throw a speedy runner at second, airmailed it all the way to the catcher, and then Kiggy throws a ball into left field, allowing 2 runs to score, a little league home run last game. That's a lack of fundamental baseball, and the manager has to help players accountable, and that's what we're not seeing there, because he's afraid. He's a communicator. Well, Boone is a communicator.
Yeah.
He got the players back, and he can't go in that and hold them accountable, like you said, Caputo, because they might revolt against him, and he has to coddle them. Sounds like Mickey Callaway here. We're gonna hug the players. We're gonna love them. Come on, this is baseball. You're getting paid. They're getting paid multi-million-dollar contracts. You know what? Man up. You made a mistake. You know what? You know what? The manager's going to call you up and say, "Listen, you're making a lot of mistakes. That's going to cost us millions of dollars. You gotta shape up. Play the right play. And I think that's what's missing, that fire with the New York Yankees. So I think that we'll try to continue doing some more podcast here from time to time here, but we mostly do watch along centrics. But it's Memorial Day. We want to thank again our men and women of the service to give us the freedoms, and all the first responders and all the policemen, firefighters, memorial men, servicemen, Air Force, Army, Marines. Thank you guys. We appreciate that. Coast Guards, everyone that serves our country, that gave us these freedoms, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much for this Monday. Enjoy the rest of Memorial Day evening. I know watch along tonight. I'm gonna not do the Tuesday night. We'll be back on for the Yankees watch along. I'm not gonna do the Monday night. It's 9 o'clock game. I gotta get
I was
ready.
gonna tell you. Would you like a manager like a Mike Stocia or a Terry Francona? Right? I would.
I personally, I take a baseball man. Give me a baseball man who's a baseball lifer, who knows the nuts and bolts, balls and strikes. And that would yes, I would. I don't want the data applicator no more. I don't want the analytics guys who the guys like the guy from San Francisco. I forget his name. Gabe Kapler, guy, Aaron Boone. No, thank you. No, thank you. I want a baseball. Give me a baseball guy. Joe Madden. You know what? The guy that I will bend a little bit, who's a little analytics, little baseball, a little bit of both tweener, is a Joe Madden. I will take that if they was available, but I won't do that move during the regular season. Unfortunately, we're stuck with Boone for the rest of the year, and we'll see where he goes with that, and then we'll find out his fate. So unfortunately, we have to stick with Boone for the rest of the year. But again, you guys have a great afternoon. Have a blessed afternoon. May the Yankees, may the Knicks be, the sports be with you. We'll be back here. Have a good one. Peace.